Riders on the storm. Riders on the storm. And good evening, listeners, and welcome to what I'm going to have to say is going to be one of the most extraordinary shows that we have had in our 10 years of broadcasting here on 98.3 The Live WRLR, 98.3 FM, streaming worldwide on WRLR FM. You can get us on Radio Garden. You can get us streaming from our website. You can see us on YouTube as well as hear us. You can watch us delayed on YouTube whenever you want, and you can see us live on Twitch TV. Because we have people literally from all over the world here. No, I'm not talking about Terry Cox. I know people thought that I was, but well, I'm kind of from all over. Oh, I better turn on your mic here. I'm going to turn on your mic, which will help. Say that again, Terry.
I'm kind of from all over the world.
Well, you've lived and worked in the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Well, I guess that counts. So we'll count you. And also, we were counting up the number of published authors that we're going to have here tonight, and that total is going to be 3. Yes, that's amazing, and from far and wide places on top of it. So, and actually, in one way or another, everyone's been guests before, but we have them live and in studio, and come from near and far, as they say. So. I'm really touched. My name is Lou Bruno. I am your host. We want to thank everybody that helps get this show on the air. Fremont Township Community Emergency Response Team. Everyone at Fremont Township, and especially the taxpayers who support us. Everyone here at 98.3 FM, WRLR, Community Broadcasting for Lake County. Lake County Health Department, Lake County Emergency Management, Citizens Corps Council. I'm forgetting people, and please forgive me for doing that because I just have so much to get to this evening. Terry Cox, you have heard from, our senior advisor and consultant, who has pointed out, published a book, as well as have lived in another country too.
Right.
And the Bahamas. Should we, and to your immediate right is our contributing editor, Jill Hughes, who has lived in another country too.
I have lived in England and Australia.
Yeah, 3. Is Round Lake actually, does that count as a 4th one? There's some parts of the United States that they just count as separate countries. I mean,
it's Lake County.
It's Lake County. You know what? And I'm going to give you the pleasure of introducing the lovely lady next to you who came from quite a distance to be here tonight.
Well, we just came from down the road. My sister driving, so we're here safely. I've come from Cranley in Surrey, and I turned up on Tuesday.
Okay.
That was great.
Cranley or turning up at his?
First time in 20 years.
That you've been. I should introduce everyone to Jill's lovely sister,
Yes.
Trish Blumfoyle. Field. Bloomfield. Did I say it right? I'm sorry.
No, you'll never get it right.
Okay.
Field. Broomfield.
Bloomfield.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
4,000 miles to come to this studio to see you.
This show to say,
Right.
I've written another book, which you probably haven't bought yet.
No, I haven't.
It's only been out since
So,
September 1st.
okay. UK or US?
Worldwide.
Worldwide.
It's on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
And where did you get yours? My sister walked into the bookshop.
I went to Barnes & Noble in Vernon Hills, and I told them I wanted to order a book, and she said, do you know the name of the author? And I said, yes, it's my sister. And that was such a proud moment. You know, it was such a proud moment. And you will not win an argument tonight with both of us here. I'm just saying, okay?
I will not, but I will thank you and apologize, because I know you have family here you want to see, and I know you want to get a lot of things done. Plus, I guess normally you would be home asleep at this time.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so I hope we're not throwing off your body clock. And then on the other side of the table, this lady has been here before with us. And God, I don't know where to start, but let me just give you a little bit of a rundown. She has been a leader in the nonprofit sector for 35 years. She is currently with the Henry Ford Foundation and will tell us all about that this evening. She founded 3550 Philanthropy, serving as president and CEO of that organization. She was president and chief development officer of the Naval War College Foundation, chief executive officer of the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library, educator, author, philanthropist. I had her. I'm sorry, but Carla, I had you as one of the top people from Chicago until recently, but you've moved down because a certain guy from the South Side sort of like
Yeah, I think he's putting a lot of people. A lot of people are dropping down the list at this point, but a very proud moment. I mean, couldn't believe it.
For those of you that don't know who I'm talking about, Dr. Carla Kornowski. Carla, thank you, and really, I am proud. I'm especially proud that a Pope now is from the South Side of Chicago, although I'm a North Sider. But I am just as proud that someone like yourself is also from Chicago, have fame both here and over in Europe, and still live in Chicago. What can we say? And I know it was tough. You came up from the city, and it's always a nightmare to get up here. So we thank you.
Yeah, well, it didn't take as long as coming over from Great Britain, but it felt like it tonight. So,
and God, I'm sure Trish, Jill has explained to you that our weather is not usually this bad.
She did say, well, I brought it with me.
Okay.
This is English weather.
All right.
So you're enjoying what we have most of the time.
And it's on the wrong side of the street, too.
Well, ladies, I almost don't know where to start except to say, what led both of you to become such prolific writers? Because each of you, Carla, you have a new book out, right?
yes, it's called Blessing My Mother's Rosary, Lord's Lost Love.
Well, the Pope's got to be reading that now, right?
Yeah, I have to figure out. Oh, I know where he lives, so I know I could get it to him. So, yeah, and it's a book I've been wanting to write for quite some time. I actually worked and volunteered at Lourdes for a while, very short time, but I finally put the pen to paper, and I got it written, and it was published also in September.
Oh, I'm still on camera, and I really should get it, but here it is on it. And I think you're going to be. We have so much to talk about on the CERT Show with all of what you do, but we're going to have some time in another show later on 98.3 FM, so you can talk at length about the book. Trish, from what I understand, knowing, and you have been a guest on the phone with us before from England.
I don't remember what time I stayed up until. It was late for me. I don't know how much.
No, you were great that night. Although I think I wanted to get you to talk about the Premier League and in World Cup.
About which I know nothing.
Yeah, and you said sports is just something that you don't do, and God.
No, I can't even ask my husband to watch the stuff either.
Oh, yeah, that's really terrible then. On that, but I guess you always had an affinity for poetry and writing.
I started. The first thing I ever wrote, I believe, was a short story. My mum. And I used to try and write go through this teen phase of boyfriends and splitting up and writing your aunts going, oh, he's left me. And then I had a rest, I wrote more short stories. I wrote some terrible crime novels, which never got published. I wrote a book for carers. I cared for my mother for some time. And somebody pointed out that carers don't have. That didn't get published either. And then I brought out my first poetry. I did. Mostly memories from Australia. We're talking about Australia. Memories from our time as children in Australia. That was the first one. Then second and third was childhood. It's funny you're talking about your mother. This is a mother book.
Oh, wonderful.
Something I don't know why I wrote. This is lockdown. You know, things happen to you in lockdown, don't they? And I suddenly started writing acrostic poems. For those of you who don't know an acrostic poem, you take the first letter of the title. So if you wanted to write an acrostic of your name, you do. L. First line would start with L. The second one would be
I like her.
O,
Yes.
Right.
overly optimistic, and then U would be unavailable sometimes. So you have an acrostic poem. And I ended up writing a whole book of them. I started and couldn't stop. It's all memories of my mum when we were younger. And then a lovely friend of mine, another booming lovely, who you'll mention, the illustrations for it.
You know, and Jill, I'm gonna keep my mouth shut after this, but I think I learned something already about authors. They come armed with their books to hold up. I just picked that up because, but yeah, over to you.
I think I learned a lot about our time in Australia because I'm the youngest. I am the youngest sister.
No,
But some
It's my
people
younger
think
sister.
that she's a younger sister, but because
I don't want to
she
get
was
in that
older,
fight.
no, but she was older when we went to Australia, so she has more memory of that time than I do.
I was 5 when we went,
Yeah,
and you were.
not 5. Yeah. Yes.
We had 2 years there. Lots of time.
Yeah.
Lots of ants, cockroaches.
What is it? I like tigers and snakes. So what was this song? Carla, man, I don't know if it was a hit in
don't
the
like
UK.
tigers.
I don't like tigers and snakes.
And
Yeah.
no
On the,
chocolate.
No chocolate.
No chocolate. It
Oh
was
my God.
1950 something, and our Easter eggs were made of sugar,
Ah.
and they were hard as your teeth. So we'd been in England eating chocolate buttons and all that. When we went to Australia, nothing was chocolate.
And why is that?
I think
But
it
it
just
melts.
melt. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
so
no
hot.
way. You did have a fridge. My mum kept her makeup in the fridge. She kept her lipstick in the fridge. There was no
Melt.
air conditioning. There was just a fan going.
luckily, my mom never did that, or else I would have eaten it some night, not knowing what it was. Come home on a Friday night after, having one too many or something. What is that? Yeah, well, fascinating. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I do remember the thing that my mum used to carry in her purse. It was like a little rolled up red and yellow plastic tube, and it had a little curled up piece of paper that said "Don't panic" in there, and it's for snake bites. So there's potassium crystals and a little spear.
There's a tiny
So
little knife at
if
the
you
end.
got bitten by a snake, you would cut it open, put the crystals in there, and then you wouldn't obviously panic because it said not to do that on the label. But I remember that was in her purse at all times.
Well,
Not in Chicago anymore.
no, not Chicago. Karsha, I know you've traveled all over, but Australia?
No,
Have
I've
you?
not. No,
Oh, okay.
it's a bucket list spot. So, but I'll bring the crystals, and I'll remember not to panic. Although I'll tell myself that I don't know that I would be able to if I ever came across. Oh,
More snakes there? Scattered about?
I'm not
Snakes in
sure.
Arizona, so
We never saw one.
right.
Oh,
Never saw one, but yeah, I think being a part of CERT, then you wouldn't panic because then the blood would rush around your system and that venom would go around quicker. So Yeah, stay nice and calm.
Don't worry, you
Yeah.
may die, but we'll
Right.
take good care of you until that
Right,
point. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
On it. Carla, it comes up. You've been associated quite closely with Paris in France, and tell people how that all started.
Well, I think I was a junior in college, and one of my friends suggested we go backpacking in Europe, and we each got to pick a place to go to. And this was a huge ordeal because in my family, you'd go to Europe or anywhere outside of the contiguous states. It was you had to have been like your 25th anniversary or you retired. And here I was, this, upstart 20 something. And so, but we saved up our money and we went backpacking, and everybody got to pick a spot they wanted to go. And my one friend picked Paris. And at first I was a little put off because everyone told me to go there. And I thought, well, if everyone's telling us to go, shouldn't we go someplace that nobody's telling us to go? Like Queensland, we probably should have gone there, And so we went, and I immediately found out why everyone said you should go to Paris. And so at some point in my life, I decided, I think, as Hemingway said, Paris is a movable feast. And I thought, well, that must be true for all the Parises in the world. So I started to visit all the different Parises in the world. And so I visited about 28 of them. And it's been a very rewarding experience, and it still goes on. I'm still hoping to visit more, although some of them are in some very obscure places that I don't think I'll ever get to. But it's just been wonderful. And then in my further in my adult life, I've been involved with things in Paris, France. So that's been a real blessing too. So I mean, Paris has always captured my imagination through literature and poems and people writing about it. Through the Jazz Age, that was a huge spot for people in the Jazz Age. And I kind of said, well, I want to be those people. I want to be the Great Gatsby. I want to be, and so I started going to Paris, and I've been going ever since. So it's been great.
That's on my bucket list. I have never been to France. I've seen it from the south coast of England. I've waved at it. I've flown over it, but I haven't got there yet. Never been to France.
Terry, have you made it to France or Europe? No? Okay.
Every island in the Bahamas.
That is a lot, by the way. Trish, how about you? Have you been over
Yes,
to?
I've been to Paris. School trip there once. And we were starving. Now, we went to a boarding school over there. We were at boarding school here. So we went, we stayed, we went around all the highlights of Paris. But the food, I mean, I'm sure in France the food is fabulous, but a bowl of coffee and a bread roll. And there wasn't much lunch. Dinner was some sort of. We spent all our pocket money on the metro. These lovely little machines that you put money in, and you get toffee. You get anything, so that's all our money back.
Sounds like you.
Yeah, sounds like me.
We went back about 10 years ago, and then I revisited I took my old photos, my old black and white. We went back to all the places I took photos of.
Oh, lovely.
All the monuments. That's no different. The only thing that was different,
Do you agree, Carla?
Well, I'm a pescatarian now.
Oh,
so
well,
and
I
so-
love fish. So that's,
yeah. So I kind of get away with it. But sometimes when I say, "Oh, you have anything that's not meat on the menu?" I do get a look. But I'm not so strict. So, but what the first time I went there, as I was backpacking, I mean, we were just bread and cheese, and we didn't really venture out to the restaurants to really, enjoy all the cuisine that we could. But over time, I've been able to. But so I could imagine just, eating the little that you were eating. Because when you're kids, you don't realize, like, wait, part of what Paris is about is the food. So,
And we weren't old enough for that. About
yes.
15, I think so.
But it has changed since the pandemic. I could tell you that since the pandemic, the places are the same, but you really can't get in to see anything without a reservation in advance.
Oh, that's how Rome was. I was
Yeah,
there
even
last year.
museums, you really have to reserve it in advance, and then you still wait in line to get in, but it's well worth the wait. But you do have to make the reservations. Oh, really?
Yeah. So to go to you have to book your spot. A little queue. But you have a time exhibition of art collection.
Mm.
And we queue. With our time slot, we queue. We're crowded, we all have to sit around. We've got a people backpacks going like this. Going, look at this. And so you go. But at least you can go there.
Yeah.
You can get into these places.
As a host, and okay, I'm not a professional host. In my day job, I am a lawyer, but and I play a radio host some evenings and weekends. But you two ought to collaborate on like podcast or Zoom feed, because you amazingly feed off each other with your experiences when you go home and watch this on YouTube. It is amazing.
Maybe we'll call it Across the Pond, because for either of us, we're across the pond from each other. So,
but we really, I'm glad this sort of happened this way on it, and that everybody came up and really put themselves out to get up here this evening. So I thank you both. Carl, I know you were just involved you've been involved with obviously Lincoln Abraham. Yes, he's
yes.
Again, one of the famous people from Illinois, not the south side of Chicago. No, but from Illinois. And you recently were part of having a bust or a statue of Abraham Lincoln put up in Paris?
Yes. Yeah. So it was a long time coming. We had been working on it when I was at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library Foundation. And we started the project, and then it got put on hold because of COVID. And a few of the people that were spearheading the project that I was joining on the project, they unfortunately passed away. And so it was put on hold. And then after the pandemic, I got a phone call and they said, "Hey, where are we on this?" And we picked it up, and last May 13th, so it's almost a year to the day, we unveiled a bust of Abraham Lincoln in Paris on Georges V Street, maybe a block off the Champs-Élysées. And so you know how a lot of, and I don't know if they have this in Great Britain, but certainly in the United States, we have sister cities in some of the different, twin cities. They're almost like twin cities. So we have sister cities. So we have the Paris-Chicago Sister City Agreement, or the Chicago-Paris. Well, over there, it's Paris-Chicago. And that was the committee that I worked with. So I didn't work with the Chicago committee. I worked with the Paris committee, and an organization in Park Ridge, Illinois, called the Kalo Foundation. And they provided the bust that was created near the early 20th century by Alphonse Iannelli. And it was actually at one point on display at the Art Institute Chicago. And so they provided us the model back in the mid 2000s, and we cast it. And that was the model used for the bust that was unveiled. So it's the first public statue or bust in Paris of Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln experts, sometimes they want to, play a little gotcha with you. So they said, well, it's not the first. There's a statue of Lincoln on the campus of the University of Chicago in Paris. And I said, yes, but that's private. You're not going there. You never see it. But this is a public statue. And So I encourage all the listeners to go visit, and when you see his statue, rub his nose for good luck, which is often a tradition. You'll see a lot of Lincoln statues that are rubbed away at the nose.
You don't have to climb up.
No, it's actually within reach. It's within reach, and we had a beautiful unveiling. We had some French leaders, representatives from the mayor's office, representatives from the U.S. Embassy. And then after that, we went for a reception, a reception overlooking the Arc de Triomphe,
Oh, okay.
and followed by,
Yeah.
and we love this, we had a screening of the movie Lincoln that Steven Spielberg created a few years ago. And I love the French in that they said, oh, no, we don't want the French version of it. We want the English version, so we could hear the original actors and how they portrayed these roles. And so we had French subtitles. So it was really an incredible experience. And it's a testament to these sister cities working together. And everybody should go see him. He looks great. And I'm very proud to see him. It's not very big, but I say it's small but mighty. So,
But it's accessible.
yes, it's very
Not
accessible.
so far, because a lot of us way up on a plinth.
Right.
And we don't know
Yes.
who they are,
Ah,
unless you know the history.
yeah. Well, here you almost are eye to eye with him. He's a little further up, but you could touch his nose. And the only thing is, I was a little concerned. I thought, oh, if there's any anti-American sentiment, will
There's
they?
a lot of that going around.
Yeah,
lately,
well,
yeah.
I like to be the optimist. If there's any,
Yeah.
put it in quotes, then he can. It's very close where people could actually cause damage to him.
Right.
But so far, so good. So I'm very pleased. And people really respect Lincoln around the world. I think that's why they came to us and said, we would like to put up a bust of Lincoln. And
Oh, wow.
so it was very rewarding.
Just quick, because then I got to switch across the channel. Lincoln Academy of Illinois. Have you ever worked with it?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
A dear
okay.
friend of mine was chancellor. I
Oh,
just saw her this morning, but it's a great organization.
well.
Are you
I am a student laureate to the Lincoln
Are
Academy.
you
of Illinois.
really?
I am. Yeah, we'll talk about that later.
okay? We have
I
to.
have you two.
Yeah,
to
we
talk about.
absolutely have to.
Back. We'll leave the left bank and
Very good.
jump the channel. Trish, how far is you're from Cranley? How far is that from London?
It's about 40 minutes.
Oh, no
So-
problem
so
at all.
We can get to Guildford, that's about half an hour.
Oh, excellent. Yeah. No problem. No problem.
The problem is leaving the house.
Yeah. Well.
She actually took a picture of the road when we went down the road yesterday because there was no traffic on it. She said, I better take a picture. And I said, of what? She goes, there's nothing on the road.
well.
Well, we're in Round Lake. I mean, it's not that
If,
heavily populated. It's very spread out.
If well, you flew into O'Hare, so was there a lot of
It's
traffic?
fairly busy when
Yeah.
fair enough, but we have so many roadworks. Somebody is always digging up.
Oh, well, we
Yes.
got that same problem
yeah.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that exists too. Hey, you dropped the name earlier, and you said you tell us much more about them, but the blooming lovelies. Please explain.
The blooming
Pray tell.
lovelies Who are actually booming lovelies.
Booming
They will keep insisting on booming. Apparently, Sharon, three of us, three ladies, Sharon, who gave us the name, thought, well, we're all baby boomers and we're all lovely. So we are now the blooming lovelies.
Perfect.
And we perform poems about, as a lady of a certain age, things you may remember, which you wouldn't have ever have done this, but things like ironing your hair.
Terry, did you ever iron your hair? Come on. A minute.
I've always had a flat top.
Okay. All right.
So if you go back to what we used to do in the 60s, that's mostly what our performance is about, and also things that we are dealing with now, things like the medical changes in life, changes sat-navs and being told what to do. And the whole
Yes.
performance is about our experiences and how we dealt with it. And it's about an hour. We each take it in turn to, we learn our poems, so you don't have to watch, you don't have to pay and come and see us going, because we actually learn our work, and then we take it in front of the mic, see what it was like. I have Heather, who did the illustrations of the book, whose language is a little right. And then we have Sharon, who's
That was you.
No, so, and we did a performance recently before I came out to a group of ladies of a certain age who meet to have tea once a month. On stage, and we haven't been 20 minutes. I mean, that's not a reflection on our work. They just obviously retired. A WI, do you know what the WI here?
Not heard of it.
No.
It was formed
so.
in 1915, and it's the largest poetry organization. First World War, try and provide work on the land.
Hence the movie, the land. What is it? The Land
That's
Girls or
Land
Land
Army,
Women?
something different. My
Yeah.
mum was a land army.
Yes. My
Oh,
mother was
okay.
in the Land Army.
Oh
Yes.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So these ladies, the WI, they're all about, they're trying to be more modern now, but they're basically about preserving during the war, preserving traditionally known as these home girls,
Girls,
although
yeah.
they do a lot of work for charity. We did a group chat there. And once again, front row, two people, fast asleep. and the ones that weren't asleep, there were a few faces like, probably because of Heather's language, and also because of the subject matter that we talk about. Things that women go through, but these women didn't necessarily want to hear it. I looked at them, I thought, you're all old enough to be here, done this.
Yes.
Why are you putting this? Love it. Love it.
I think you'd love it, Lou. You'd love
No,
it. Randy would love it.
Oh,
I'm sure.
Randy
Yeah.
would love it.
A lot of people identify with it.
Right.
And it's the mainstay, I suppose, is comedy. Because we just want those people for an hour get out of this world
Right.
and just forget everything else apart from the memories they've got. Sometimes you treat them like you don't remember. And they laugh. They laugh at each other, they laugh at themselves. They bring their daughters laugh, but then they go, you did what?
Yes.
So I think it's good. I think it's going well.
Yeah, you know what? Well, two things, Terry, Carla. You mentioned the land armies, but we had victory gardens during the war, and the phrase fell out of use. But I remember into the 60s and 70s, if there was an open lot that somebody was farming to put vegetables, they'd call it a victory garden. But that's sort of
They have posted during the Second World War.
yeah.
Everyone's front garden is back there. Parks, London Park,
Mhm.
big relation.
Yeah.
Interesting. We had a show on our public television called The Victory Garden.
Yeah.
And that was on for quite some time. And they would teach you how to plant, when to harvest, recipes to make, and things of that sort.
Coming back, it was a
It is coming.
skill
Yeah.
when everything was couldn't go and buy me a little. And now it's coming back round. Generations who didn't go through that, and now they up with organic gardening.
Absolutely.
Well, Jill does tremendous work with our Fremont Township
I'm going to
garden.
take her down there. We drove past
Okay.
it.
I've seen it. We didn't stop.
We have
Mind
seen
it. Was
it.
raining, wasn't it?
It was raining, yes. But I think the gardening side of it and the cooking and everything has taken a bit of a leap forward with since COVID, because people couldn't do anything else, so they grew vegetables. One of the first things I bought with COVID was seeds, because I was going to grow. If there's no food, I'm going to grow stuff. So, but I think that is actually taking off with children too.
Isn't it amazing? I looked at a report recently at work, and they said, "Oh, these years were down because of the pandemic." And I thought, would we ever have thought in our lives that we lived through a pandemic? I mean, that is an event for a century. I think the last one was right after the end of the World War One. Yeah, the Spanish flu, which was at the end of World War One. Then the war killed. Exactly. And so the fact that we experienced it, lived through it. I mean, I always said, I can't go because of the pandemic. And I thought, oh, that's a sentence I never thought I'd hear myself saying in my life, but it actually happened. So it's amazing.
Let me just, I'm absolutely fascinated, and Jill, by these two ladies, Carla Kadowski and Tricia Bloomfield, with yes. And Jill, you and I are going to be producers on their podcast, and we're gonna clean up, with the revenue from it. They're amazing together and bouncing back and forth with what they have to say.
So we'll just forget the show and we'll do.
Yeah, we're just going to do
There
their
we go.
podcast. Yeah, on it. Carla, you mentioned you currently work, because I know you've been Naval War College. You've taught at various universities, correct?
I work there, yeah.
Yeah. And but currently you're with the Henry Ford Foundation?
Well, the Henry Ford, the
Henry Ford.
foundation, everybody always says, "Oh, you're with the foundation," and then they're ready to ask for money. And I say, no, that's not us. The Henry Ford is the museum. It's one of the largest museums in the nation. It's in Dearborn, Michigan, just outside Detroit. And I have the honor of working there. We get about 1.7 million visitors from around the world annually. But right now we have this really great project. Back in 1965, Martin Luther King worked with a lot of different civil rights leaders, and they were working to get a Voting Rights Act passed so that everyone could vote and not have to fight for what was technically constitutionally given to them. But this would make the Constitution stronger. And he planned everything out of a home in Selma, Alabama. It was owned by Dr. Sullivan and Richie Jean Jackson, African-American couple, and their daughter, who was about 4 or 5 years old, named Joanna. And so they were friends with the King family, Coretta Scott and Martin Luther King. And so he would use that home to plan the marches from Selma to Montgomery. And because, of course, at that time, 1965, unfortunately, Blacks couldn't just show up at a hotel and say, "Hey, I need a room." So they stayed at the Jackson home. So over the course of several months, they planned the marches from Selma to Montgomery. The first one, and I know you have one as well, was called Bloody Sunday. They started to make a march, and they were being clubbed and beaten, and they turned around and went back. The second march was Turnaround Tuesday, and the third march was successful, leading eventually to President Lyndon Baines Johnson's "We Shall Overcome" speech, where he signaled that we will have a Voting Rights Act. So that act from 1965 still exists today. It's been built upon. Unfortunately, right now, there are some people looking into how to take it apart. But our Jackson home, we transported the home because it was almost blown over by a tornado. And the daughter said, "Would you purchase it?" We asked a lot of people in the African-American community whether this was okay, because we didn't necessarily want to move on a historic site, but they said, "No, it's going to blow away, and we need you to buy it and bring it up to Detroit, where 1.7 million people will see it a year instead of 50,000. And so we did that, and now we're restoring it, and it'll open to the public next year, 2026, during the America 250, which is the 250th anniversary of American independence. So it's incredible.
You mean when we had to throw the English out?
Well, I didn't want to bring that up.
Okay.
You know,
Is that when you chucked a lot of
Yeah, no taxation without representation.
There you
Crazy king wanted us to do things.
Yeah, well, I hope it wasn't Earl Grey. I was saying, I hope it wasn't Earl Grey. I love it. But in any case, I invite all your listeners and everyone to come and see the home in 2026. We're raising funds for that, and it's just a real privilege. We also have 8,000 artifacts that go along with it, including the pajamas Martin Luther King would sleep in. There's a dining room table that he was the second Black American to receive the Nobel Peace Prize. He had lunch at the dining room table and had discussions with America's first Nobel Peace Prize recipient, Dr. Ralph Bunche. So it's a very historic home. It's really cool. We're restoring it to circa 1965, which, does anybody want to venture a guess about what color it was in 1965? It was pink. It was pink. Yeah, 1965. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Selma is pretty a warm climate, and who knows if, for instance, people were coming from the Caribbean or whatever. I mean, those are popular colors in southern tropical areas. So that great guess. Too bad we didn't have any money on the table. You would have.
Well, I think you should come back before that opens in next year, and then we can talk about that and give people information.
And perhaps we could bring Joanna. She is with us, and she's the daughter, and she used to call Martin Luther King Uncle Martin.
That would be really
and they
cool.
would have cookies and milk together. And one day she said to her mother, "Mommy, Santa Claus is here." And her mother was thinking, who could this be? And she went to the front door, and it was the head of the Greek Orthodox Church, because Martin Luther King was holding a prayer service with a multi-denominational prayer service. So the head of the Greek Church, the head of the rabbi from the head of the Jewish Church, and everybody came together for a prayer service. But she thought it was Santa Claus. So yes, we would love to come and talk about that.
Well, I'm glad I guess you've been in the UK several times. Have you made
yes, love it. And they have a statue of Lincoln I'm not sure of the actual name of the square, but it's in front of Parliament. Is that with Parliament? It's Parliament Square. Okay, yeah, that was. I don't know. That's probably why I didn't know. It was too easy, right? But he has there's a magnificent statue of Lincoln there, and it's the same, cast from the same model as one here in Chicago in Grant Park.
Oh, wow.
So, you could feel at home when you see that statue in Parliament Square. So thank you for doing that. Yeah, it's incredible.
Right. Right.
I think that's human nature,
Unfortunately, though, when you're from Chicago, it's like when I have visitors in, and you're going, "Oh, well, this bad thing happened there. Oh, and this bad thing happened here. And oh, here's the Biograph Theater, which is on Clark Street, which is most famous for where John Dillinger got shot at." And those things just had, there was a pretty big riot here, at one time, but that's Chicago.
But now we have a pope.
Now we have a pope.
Now we have a pope. We could talk about the pope. Yeah. So.
It's a bit like when you come to London and headed there.
Yeah.
And some people were headed here, and Tyburn is where they come.
Our parents were married at the Tower of London,
Ooh.
Did you know that?
No, I remember you had told me that you had a relative that
My
was one of the
father's
guys, the Beefeaters, right?
Yeah.
That was our great grandfather and our
grandfather, was a beefeater, was a yeoman warder.
grandfather was a
Chief warder.
Okay.
yeah. And then grandfather, I think he actually got the keys.
Oh my.
And if you
yeah.
see that ceremony, if you get a chance to see the
Ceremony
Keeper of the
keys.
Gate ceremony,
Yes.
it is
Last year.
fascinating.
Yeah.
Last year, year before we went up.
And it has not changed
Yes.
at all.
The only time they missed that.
I love
was our
that.
great-grandfather. The only time they missed that was during the war when the bomb dropped on the town. Had one. But every night he did that.
Fascinating.
Yeah, they were the Beefeaters were pretty friendly when we went over, and
we now
they would
have
talk.
Women,
Oh, okay.
and we
Well,
have women in.
Around what year was that?
Uh,
What year did they allow
I
women in?
don't know, it's been a couple of years because they run a television about the tower. So all you have to be is you have to be ex-forces, but you have to. Grandfather and was like
Wonderful.
and which are in the wall.
Hmm?
So in
Yes.
Wow.
in the wall.
Incredible.
My wife, the guards and red and
Yeah.
big hats and everything. So we were,
Queen's Guards.
yeah, near the castle, and so the guys, you know how they are,
Right.
and they're on the cat, and my wife has to go like pet the horse, and like I'm going, oh, come on, please don't do this, because and so she walks up to the guy on the horse, and I don't know what he's going to say. I'm just fearful that this guy's going to spear her or something. Goes, can I pet your horse? No, he did. He was actually no, yeah. Yeah, he didn't move a muscle, but when she came up and goes, "Can I pet your horse?" and yes, ma'am, you can do that.
Well, she asked. That was
Yeah,
nice.
she did ask.
I'm
yeah.
sure many people don't.
She did get that. Well, you guys both are recently. God, it's 6:47. We're only on. Yeah, when can we? How long are you in town still?
I go
Oh, okay. Yeah, because God, you guys should do another show. But this has been.
So I'm home by Thursday.
Yeah, this has been amazing.
Have
both
we
of
hit
you.
time?
Well,
already?
no, we have another 10 minutes, but
Wow, time flies, as they say.
and with both of you ladies, I'm sure, even though you just published a book, I'm sure you either got personal appearances with the rest of the Blooming Lovelies.
We have dates.
Booming Lovelies.
We're having the summer off, and I think we start.
Okay.
We just said yes to another one in London. I don't know when, however. Last year we did a pub in Soho. I sent photos to my sister. We have very many bands. Bob Dylan played there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, now he's saying the Booming Lovelies played
Right.
there.
Yeah.
That's
There
the-
you go.
Carla was quick on that.
Love that.
It's been
Love
great.
that.
The Dylan movie was pretty good, by the way, if
I
you
haven't
didn't see
seen-
that.
yeah, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, no, it was. I was dubious, but it was very good on it.
So
And
will there be a statue of you in London at some point?
no, there will
Or
not.
Paris?
No.
No.
Never
a
say no.
A certain
Right.
back alley in Chicago, maybe, but no, none of those places. But another book is on the horizon.
I've got no choice now because in the back of this one, I said coming soon.
Coming soon.
The next book, which is called The Sandra Days, is all about what it was like being a boarder at school in the 60s,
Yes.
which people will remember, people who went to boarding school. We were very lucky, it was a mixed school. So
It's single sex. Yeah.
it's
you
single
can.
sex.
Yeah.
Because now you can't, you have to go to gender.
It was mixed.
So we had, originally I think it was a boys' school. It was also open to day pupils who were local. So some of us boarded, some of us visited. And it was a wooden building apparently with no foundation. When they knocked it down, there was nothing to hold it up.
No.
There was nothing holding it up.
It's now a victory garden.
The land army is working it. Yeah.
Oh, bars at the windows. You mentioned that,
Bars
didn't
at
you?
the windows.
Bars
Yes.
at the windows in our building. And we had the mail
Goodness.
file with the metal mail file. Go in at night and go with the screws and try and get through them and try and get the files out.
You couldn't do that now. You couldn't. It was a fire hazard, and you
Well,
couldn't
Yeah,
get out.
absolutely.
Couldn't
yeah.
get out.
They painted it
Oh.
over so many times we didn't get there anyway.
Yeah.
Terry will tell you we had a very bad experience with a school fire here that was quite famous.
I remember that.
I was 3 years old, but I was living in the neighborhood at the time. My family was from that area, Our Lady of Angels.
Yeah, my cousin was in it,
Oh my God.
but he came out unscathed. Another friend of mine came out unscathed, but lost some friends. So yeah, it was
at a
at a
Catholic
school.
school.
no.
No, it was a day school. But Terry, what was it? 90 some people, their children got killed,
Yeah. Yes.
and
And-
codes got changed and
And
everything afterwards. Yeah, it was devastating.
Chief Hoskins was also, his sister passed away in the fire,
Oh,
and he was able to get out of it
oh, wow.
because he was in a different area. So,
Yeah,
Yes.
it was back in the late 50s. So
Yeah, it was devastating, and as Lou said, the fire codes changed because of it. A lot of at the time, the rules for if there was a fire, the nuns were told stay at your desks. So these children were sitting at their desks and could not get out because they waited too long. Yeah, it was
and
devastating.
a lot of the construction was wood in it.
Yeah, and it was,
because it was older. Yeah.
and the fire alarm was not in the school building. It was in the building next door.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Yeah. No smoke detectors back then or anything.
No.
On it.
We had a fire bell.
It was a handbell.
oh,
It was a brass bell,
Right.
and somebody had to hold it and go ding dong ding, walk along the corridors.
I think the housemaster used to just walk up down the hallways and ring this bell.
They did that to wake us up as well.
Right.
That was the morning
Yeah.
bell. You had to be awake in the morning, and somebody would ring this big brass bell. Wake
Back in the day,
Back in the day.
1831, when we were at school. I know.
1831.
and speaking of fires, if I just want to,
Go ahead, and then tell me where you went to school. Where'd you?
I went on the northwest side. It was a high school or elementary school with St. Genevieve's.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was at St. Hilary.
Patron saint of
But-
Paris. So,
Oh, wow. Hey,
and
yeah.
I didn't play. Yeah, I did not play in that. I was just brought there. But Notre Dame, I want to thank all your listeners.
You know, we've another thing that Carla has done. She has been instrumental in raising funds to rebuild Notre Dame. And I got to say, like 2 minutes or less, and we really wanted to talk about that. But please,
Well, no, 2 minutes. I mean, I just want to thank all the listeners and anyone who contributed to the restoration. As everyone knows, it opened in December. It's absolutely glorious. You need tickets to see it, but the tickets are free. But again, it's because so many people are going. It's spectacular. And but it was promised that it would open in five years. So the inside is done. But what most people don't understand is $250 million worth of renovation still needs to take place because they need to restore all the flying buttresses, many of the gargoyles, 3 of the rose windows. So the outside has not been restored other than they put on the new roof. And this year, very soon, they'll be putting the statues back of the apostles that used to be on the roof, and they're going back on. They're made of copper. They've been cleaned to their original color, so they look more black than the green that they become when they oxidize. And it will take about 65 years for them to be green again. So none of us will be there to see it. But it's going to be exciting. But we're working, and at least through 2028, we think we'll be raising funds to restore the outside of the cathedral. So,
well, you are going to be on in the near future. And besides your most current book, we'll talk about that later. Yeah, they did.
oh yes,
Yeah.
Yes, and I was able to walk through while it was being restored, and it was a hard hat tour. It was incredible because we were able to go eye to eye with the rose windows because we were on scaffolding. It was just magnificent, but a lot of work went in. The artisans just were so dedicated. And the only funny story I have is I went into the area where the organ was being restored, and they were restoring the wood around the organ, and there was a can of WD-40, which goes to show you it can fix anything. It's
So
everywhere.
What do you think, Terry? That,
Yeah.
when I was there, what was still, again, amazing to me, I was in Paris in May of 23. And obviously, a lot of the work was, still taking place. But crowds came. The people were taking tours outside, getting lectures. And, it's an amazing section of Paris anyway. Across the river is the famous bookstore, Shakespeare and Company. And Hemingway hanged out, and there's churches and everything down there. But yeah, it was just amazing to see the construction and the people that came.
Yeah.
Boy. When do I get to book you two again? I mean,
Well, I don't know when we'll be here together.
Yeah.
Well, and I did say, it's been 20 years.
oh yes,
wow.
absolutely. Oh God.
My nephew brought me from the airport.
18 or something.
Well, no, he was like 21.
That's what it
21.
I didn't recognise him.
was.
I don't recognize
I'm going when I meet the boys. It's like, how could you? Jill is your mom. I mean, it's like,
Showed Lou the photo.
I put it on Facebook.
Yeah,
I see the
yeah.
pictures.
Photo when I arrived. I'm here. These boys. There.
yeah.
And I
Very
just feel
tall.
like I've shrunk so much.
Right.
And it must be fine.
We got to see him over at the expo.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, you guys
Terry-
got out to the expo, and
Yes,
it was
Terry
great.
met
I told everybody.
Benjamin and
How
his
was
family.
how was the expo,
It was
by the way?
fabulous. It was
Last
really
Saturday,
well done. Really
Responder
well
Expo.
done. Excellent. Lots of things to see. The kids were having a great time. Everybody, all the first responders were being so nice and so helpful. It was just an excellent time. We loved it. Loved it.
I was actually with some of the people from Shield 23 last night, and they have a future guest for us. Terry, the McHenry chief. We got to give him a call.
Oh,
He's got a special connection. Listen, I would have paid money to be here tonight, and I have to apologize to both of
Don't let
you.
me stop you.
There's that
I'll
British
order
humor.
your.
I
I'm going to go
love
home
it.
and order your book on Amazon. But thank you. You did send me a copy of one of your books. Yes. Yeah.
That's us.
But Jill and Terry, you guys know it as well. I mean, this was just a special hour for us, and I had no intention of being here this long, but you guys, I've said it 3 or 4 times, but you guys just are huge together.
Right. It was fun.
Yeah, it was an honor.
It was one of the amazing. Well,
It's a good show
go
when
ahead.
time flies. It really is.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Thank you
It's easy.
very much.
Yeah, no, I'm forgetting my tooth pain. After this. I'm still waiting to get that
Still
tooth
have
out.
that.
Well, I went to see one dentist, and I didn't necessarily want to just sign on for
Right.
a few $1,000s of work immediately,
Right.
and then to get a second opinion takes forever. But
Maybe she can get some funding for you
get
for
some
your,
funding.
for your rebuild.
Yeah,
rebuild.
Yeah.
Right.
For what can I say? Trish, Carla, Terry, Jill, God, what a night.
Woo.
Thank you for coming. We will have to talk to everybody. We're going to do lunch. My wife has to meet you.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
n-
He offered to pay for lunch.
No, the honorable, and I should say you're listening because we went over the hour. You're listening to 98.3 FM, WRLR, the Life in Lake County, broadcasting from Round Lake Beach, and we're over our limit. but who cares? It's only the automation that plays after this show.
It's the jet lag. It's the jet lag.
It's the jet
Yeah.
lag. We're on it, but thank you just for a lovely evening. We'll talk off air, everybody. Until we all meet again, wherever that may be. Take care, everybody. Be well. We'll be back in 2
Thank you.
weeks.